How's it going, everyone? I figured I'd make a little update video on what's going on with the car. As you can see, I've still got the engine out of it. I've got my whole wiring loom pulled down. I'm going to try to redo all that and clean it up across the back. I've cleaned up the engine bay with a bunch of degreaser and got everything nice and clean. But here's the main thing that's happening. It's got some Icon lightweight forged pistons. It's got a Scat forged crank and Scat forged rods. It's now a 393 stroker. As you can see, I have spent time cleaning it and painting and trying to make it look like something. I got it internally balanced, so I've got to get a new dampener and flex plate. I repainted my intake. I was going to try to make it shiny and try to get it back to the aluminum look, but I didn't like the way it looked, so I went flat black. I think it looks really good. I'm redoing my fuel system in my engine bay. I'm not redoing the whole fuel system, but it's got a 60 feed all the way to the front, and I was deadheading it into the fuel rails and returning before the fuel rails. Now I'm going to pass through the fuel rails like a typical system, more like a regular fuel system, where it Y's off through the fuel rails from the tank, return back to the fuel pressure regulator, then to the return to the tank. More like a typical system. I got all my parts nice and organized now. I got a new oil pan. This one, I got a couple issues with this one. One, it's just slap full. I don't know if you can see it all, but it's slap full. But it also got, I don't know if you can see these dents in it. Yeah, you can see them. It got hit by pieces of piston that fell and got between the crank and the oil pan, and not really a huge deal, except for it pushed it out right here, and it was leaking where the dipstick thing is. And instead of trying to beat that back flat and use an RTV and just, I don't know, it beat up the oil pan pretty good. It got it on the other side too. You can see the witness marks. I'm just replacing it. It was only a 5-quart oil pan anyways. I went with a 7-quart replacement. I'm putting a new fuel filter on it. This one's pretty interesting. This is the this is the valve that came out of the head. I've never seen anything like it. Yeah, I mean it's pretty bad. As you can see, I got me some new valve springs. I've got my old cam was a solid flat tappet. There's all the pictures and stuff. Old cam was solid flat tappet. I'm going back with a hydraulic roller, custom cam. The cam that was in it, or actually technically it still is in it, it's in the other motor though, was one of my dad's old cams. Very old cams. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I asked around and gave some people the specs, and they said that it is not exactly the kind of cam I should be using for my setup. So I got a custom hydraulic roller cam. It's going to have about between 580 and 600 lift, and is meant for a turbo, and a 393. Let's see, is this the one? No, this isn't it. As you can tell, I have spent some time cleaning these up, and I have to say I'm very lucky that I've smoothed this one out. This is the one that was damaged. I've smoothed it all out the best I can. There's no sharp edges or anything anymore, no thin spots where it can heat up and cause detonation. I had a lot of bent valves. As you guys seen, there was a lot of piston material in other cylinders that had gotten between the valves and the seat, and I had a lot of bent valves. Out of 16 valves, I think I found 3 that were not bent. But good news is I lapped a valve to the seat, just a quick lap, and it sealed. And actually, I had built a plate that I put on here. I just clamped it with a big C-clamp and put a little bit of pressure in here, and it held. So that's good news. I don't need new heads. I've, as you can tell, cleaned these up pretty good. Yeah, I've cleaned both of them up. They're both in decent shape. I don't know what brand head they are. It's got this little like waffle cone look on it, but the part numbers don't come back to anything. I know they're Chinese heads, but from some research that I've done, I think these are blueprint heads. Maybe, maybe not. But this is kind of what I've found out online. Yeah, here's the fuel line I'm using. It's a 8AN line. I'm cleaning and painting everything I can to try to make it look good. This is my rails for my oil pan. I've got my transmission plate and my flex plate. Here's my new alternator, brand new. Brand spanking new. Tough Stuff alternator. There's an old one that was bad, and I've got 2 more alternators over there. I've got alternators galore. Yeah, and then I've just kind of got everything semi-organized. I got paint and cleaners and oils and cleaning stuff and tools and parts. I haven't done anything else to the car other than we're back in the townhouse, so I've got it in the garage. I'm gonna start cleaning this out. It's real dusty. But yeah, I've got the engine bay cleaned up. We just flat towed it over here since oh wow, y'all can't see anything. Since my wife's truck is currently on my trailer because it had a tire blowout. So we flat towed it over here. But I want to repaint the inside of the engine bay. It's has not aged well with as many times as I've had the motor in and out, and then you can tell the last time I painted it, the motor was in it. So it's, yeah. I don't know, I'm just trying to clean it up in here a little bit. I've got electrical tape. You can tell where I've done it in the past, where I've wrapped all the wire. I'm gonna do the same thing with like my alternator wires, and yeah, just try to get it all cleaned up. I'm gonna replace this crappy wire. It's small and frayed, and think it may be part of the reason why my car is turning over real slow. And I've actually got some 0 gauge red wire that I'm going to use right here. So I got some nice, thick red wire to use instead. I'm hoping it's long enough. I honestly don't even know. Should be more than long enough. So, but yeah, there's a little update on the car. I put the oil pan on, and that's why it looks blue. I put the oil pan on the motor when I painted it, but I have spent a lot of time cleaning and making sure that nothing is left in here, and everything looks pretty darn good. The only thing that I've got to figure out is I could not find anybody with Arp studs. They were on back order for a 351. Well, a Cleveland 351 Cleveland is the same, I think they're almost the same length. They're right at the same length. And obviously the same thread. As you can see, some of them, every single one of these is bottomed out. Some of them screw in a little bit further than the other, but it's all the way to the top of the nut. So it's all threads are engaged on all of them. But I have an issue here where I don't think this is going to go anywhere, but I don't like this wobbling around. So I've got to figure that out. I don't know, I don't want to do that. I was going to say I may put a little screw in it with a washer. I don't really like that. I'll figure something out. I may drop a ball bearing in just this one and bring it out just enough to put a nut on this side too. But I don't know yet. But as you can tell, so you can see the balance marks in it. Told me it actually balanced out really well. He didn't have to put any Mallory in it, which I'm real happy about. Mainly because cost. It was $250, and balanced it well below Ford spec. The guys I had balanced it built a lot of NASCAR motors, a lot of high RPM NASCAR motors. So told them what my plans were. Told them wanted to spin it to at least 7,000, and they balanced it to do so. And I'm using the hardware to try to keep cap walk down and hold up to it a little bit. New Melling oil pump, obviously the new pickup to go with my pan. Yeah, and that's it. Cleaned up real nice. Yeah, we'll see how long this one lasts. Not trying to jinx myself, hopefully it lasts a long time. I can't keep pulling motors out of this thing. It's getting very expensive. My next plan is to paint it. Yeah, as you can see, I had a leak and had to reseal my window, and the tape did that. So I've got some adhesion issues, and then adjusting the hatch at one point to try to get it to close better and get the body lines right. That happened. So here soon, I'm gonna start sanding the whole thing down. I need replacement window rubbers, as you can see. Yeah, this thing's it's an 89, and this window's from 89, and this was like this when I bought it. I bought this car, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago as a roller, and this was already like this. So to be honest, it may have been swapped out with another car before I bought it. But I would like to redo this. I thought about buying just the trim kit, but as you can see, you know, this is supposed to seal this a little bit, and it doesn't. So, yeah, and then one of my next purchases is going to be, once the motor's done and back in the car and running, I want to do an anti-roll bar. Probably going to go with like a Wild Rides, to be honest. That's the brand that I use for my upper and lower control arms. That's probably the brand I'll use for the anti-roll bar too. I have not done anything to the inside. Just so everybody knows, I'm not sure if I've updated anybody in a while on this. Let me get my light out. But this is it's really dusty, holy cow. This is a full interior car. Full interior. Carpet, sound deadening, the whole 9 yards. Even still has the AC box over there. Still has a radio in it. This is a stock interior car. I don't know how much it weighs, but I know it's on the heavier side. It's got a Lexian rear window in it. Oh, look at all the dust. Holy cow. It does have a Lexian rear window in it, but the Lexian rear window is actually a funny story. A while ago, when I was still in North Carolina, my truck, my F-250 was in the shop, and I was driving my car daily, and same thing I was doing now. I was using stock motors. I went to LKQ and got a 351 to put in it. because the original one I put in it through a rod, like the second time I drove it. I should have probably checked all that before I drove it, but I didn't, and I regret it now. But so I didn't have another vehicle. I was using this. Went to the LKQ and got a motor. Well, the motor had to go back here. I folded the seats down, put a big piece of plywood in here. Obviously, the battery was not back here at that time. The battery was in the front. And, well, as I was pulling out of LKQ, it rolled. I should have put it in here long ways, front to back, like it's sitting right there. Instead, I put it in here sideways, not thinking. And when I took off, it rolled back and hit the bottom right here and shattered the window. And I, for the life of me, could not find a window for a decent price. I think they wanted $500 to come and install a window in it. Something ridiculous. I couldn't find anybody selling a hatch. Which is what I was kind of wanting to do, because this hatch is, you can't see it because I've repaired a lot of it. Well, I've repaired all of it up here. I say repair. I did not do it right. It's Bondo. Don't think too highly of me. There's rust holes up here, mainly up against the bottom of the windows, like up against this edge. So this has all been, granted, I sanded all the rust out, sprayed it with rust treatment, and then I bonded the whole top, sanded it, made it look good. But it's also got, here is a bad rust spot, and then here, which is a very common place, is a bad rust spot that obviously I did not do well enough repairing. So I was kind of trying to find a whole new hatch and couldn't find one. So I ended on just going Lexan. And the funny thing is, probably 2 weeks after I bought this Lexan, my wife's mom was on Facebook Marketplace and actually found somebody giving away an entire hatch, window and all. But I already had this. I like this. It's light. And I don't drive the car enough on the street to need to worry about it. It's sealed up really well. I do need to put the trim back on here still. I need to put the trim on the front. There's no point. I need to order new trim and paint it. The car needs to be painted, so it's all going to come back off anyways. So I actually do have a new hatch and glass if I ever want to go back to glass. I know some, I don't race in any kind of events, but some events do require glass, all steel. I can't run with the big dogs that don't have all glass. I'm nowhere near that. Next thing I want to do in the future is new rims and tires. I don't have skinnies in the front. I've got a standard tire in the front. Not that it really hurts anything, but you know, weight is weight. And then also after you do a burnout, the bigger your tire, the more water it can hold. You don't want water on the track. So thinking about doing some skinnies. I'm thinking what I really want to do is get another set of rims to put in the front and rear and run these rims as a street setup and then have a drag setup. But you end up putting a drag wheel on, you love the way it looks, and that's what you leave on there anyways. I doubt I'll switch back and forth. I do not want the same rims. Don't get me wrong, I do like these rims. These are not real welds. To be honest, I don't even know what brand they are. I bought them used. The fronts I love. The rears, on the other hand, the back spacing is not quite right. As you can see, these tires very, very close to the edge. And as a matter of fact, they rub. You can see the top of the tires real shiny right there. This is rolled, but it does rub, which is very aggravating because there's tons of room in here. So the back spacing on these rims is not ideal. I don't even know if y'all are updated to know I've got strange adjustable shocks in the rear. I don't know if what all you're going to be able to see from down here. The car's not jacked up, but it's got Wild Rides solid upper and lower control arms in it. Obviously it's got a stock fuel cell in it with a big pump inside of it, an internal pump. Yeah, but I want to do an anti-roll bar down here because I think it'll help out a ton. But yeah, that's it, guys. I figured I'd give a little update video, and yeah, I'll keep you updated with the progress that's going on. I apologize. I should have gotten a video of me assembling all this. To be honest, I should have got a video when I picked all the parts up, because I bought them, I don't want to say used, I bought them off of somebody that bought them and never used them. It was a brand new, still in the package, had never been balanced. I'm the one that had it balanced. I probably should have got a video of that, and I should have got a video of me assembling it. I apologize for that. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get more videos from here on out, and there's my little update. So I'll keep the videos coming.